Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Often the faithful ask, well, we are told that destiny of God is final. And if that's the case, then what is the point of coming to this earth in any case? Especially since the Quran states that indeed we have created for hell many amongst the jinn and amongst the man. Now, we can explain this problem more clearly, that God knows everything. Nothing happens contrary to the way God knows it. And nothing happens without the consent of God. So here there are two things. We lack free will, and everything is destined because of God's foreknowledge, and nothing can happen contrary to God's foreknowledge. Let us take the issue of everything being fixed and not talk for now about compulsion in actions. When we look at the Quran, God expresses himself at two levels. One is the absolutely unknown God, who has no name. Qul huwa, say he, the unknown, Allah. Is Allah for your consumption in terms of his handiwork and creation and everything other than him. So at one level, he is the huwa, the simple he. On the other level, he is Allah. He as he knows all and everything, because he is the absoluteness of everything, and within the absolute moment, everything that is happening is his knowledge. He is knowledge, he has knowledge of all things. On the other hand, he talks of himself as Allah. Here then he says in the Quran, Allah has yet to know who will struggle amongst you and who will not. Now we find this expression repeated in the Quran in few places, that God has yet to know. Now with that in mind, we can see that there is God as God. And then there is an aspect of God which is the same one God, but in relation to human existence. When we look at it carefully, we can see the problem somewhat differently. When we come into this world, the DNA is destined. And DNA brings with it its own limitations and its potentials and its own aptitudes. The religion of birth is determined, which then has its own influence upon us, and here we find a sense of amount of fixed life and destiny. Our socio-political environment is destined prior to us coming here, and it will determine what course we take in life. The state of affluence and poverty will determine what professions we choose. The availability of education will determine what type of education route we take. In this way, the bodily aspects of our existence are greatly determined and destined undeniably. However, what seems to be left undestined is the whole issue of salvation and damnation. For if that was already destined, then the life of this world is not really an opportunity. It is a predetermined thing in which we are just acting out our lives, eventually to go to hell or to heaven, and then that would bring about the greatest blame upon God, that God is callous. But God leaves that open, and he says God has yet to know. So at the level of the inner world, destiny is left unfixed. Your body is the body that you have got through destiny, your sickness and health. However, the way you interact with the bodily aspects of your being is undetermined. How will you interact with this sickness? Will you grow through it and refine your human gem? Or will you become miserable and collapse through it? Your poverty is determined. Will you now, in this poverty, remain dignified and noble and not steal? and not become undignified in front of others and seek their favors. This is up to you. Your state of affluence is determined. The opportunities that came your way were determined. But in this state of affluence, will you become arrogant, stifled, egoistic? Or will you humble yourself and say, this is an bodily aspect that was destined, it's nothing to do with me. I am to learn care, sharing, charity, humility, and thank Allah for the opportunity. What you become through the bodily destined aspects is undetermined. Now, having said this, we do know for a fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if He knows everything and nothing can happen contrary to the way He knows, then that means Allah Himself is destined by His own foreknowledge. And that would bring in a lack with God. So we have to maintain that no, God can change His decision at any point, so that God is not destined by destiny itself, that God does not destine His own action. Now this is exactly the notion that a group of Jews had when we read the Quran. They were talking about the Muslim success and their own downfall. And then they were saying, well, God cannot do anything about it because the hand of God is tied. As if it's a domino effect, it's a causative cycle. God has decided this and God can't change it. So they said the hand of God is tied. The Quran says their hands are tied. Both of God's hands are open, which signifies that God can change destiny at any point, and He does not have any influence upon Him to change destiny. He can decide to change it in the moment, and He changes it. Again, God says in the Quran, يَمْحُ اللَّهُ مَا يَشَاءُ وَيُثْبِتُ وَعِنْدُهُ أُمُّ الْكِتَابِ. Allah wipes clean what He wants, and He can establish what He wants, and He has the mother of all books, meaning that He can change destiny as and how He wants. So the destiny not of damnation and salvation, but the destiny of the world that seems to be so fixed in a closed circuit can be changed by God according to His knowledge, and it can be very arbitrary according to Him. Otherwise, if we say that there are influences on God, then that limits God. So it is here that the Blessed Prophet said, Allah yuraddu al-qada illa bid-du'a, that the destiny of God cannot be repelled save by prayers. So it shows that no, destiny is made and is in the making. It's a very charming world if only we can understand it. The issue of salvation and damnation, which is the real purpose why we are here, is open and contingent to the way we interact with the bodily determined aspects of our life. As Imam Hussein says in his dua, O Lord, how may I stand defeated when You are my aid? Against all odds I will be filled with confidence because You are by my side. O Lord, how may I stand victorious when You are the overpowering authority above me? You can bring me crashing to my knees. Belief in destiny of God actually empowers us in a very profound way. If we know something is destined, then we lose fear. If I am destined to die, then embrace that destiny and lose fear. If I am destined to succeed, then God will ensure I succeed. If I am struck with poverty, if God is destined for me to live, then He will provide for me. I do not need to steal. I do not need to appease anybody. So destiny can work in a very positive manner in terms of granting us inner salvation. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.